Welcome to another edition of Let's Be Perfectly Queer with Randy Davis and my co-host, the lovely Justine Diaz.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing today?
Listen, we've got a great show this evening. I am excited to get started. You're going to be the one who's going to be steering the ship on this show, as it's a topic that is much more suited to you. But our guest this evening is the wonderful, the glamorous, the fabulous Jemm Doshay. Jemm, welcome to the show. I should say welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. Yes.
Because you have been here before, and much like my friend Justine, I've had the pleasure of seeing Jemm right from the very beginning of her career. Yes.
Oh,
I have seen the evolution of Jemm Doshay, and it has been a fabulous journey. I cannot wait to see what the future holds for you, Queen, because you are amazing.
Yes, I'm
Absolutely.
Amazing, I'm stunning, I'm elegant. Keep going, keep talking about me, it's great.
Yeah, no, I'm done.
Careful, her head might have fit on the studio door afterwards.
It's a 2-hour program, yes?
It is.
Yes,
It is.
program. Yes, again, welcome to the show, my lovely sister, also another member of the House of Devereaux, Miss Jemm Doshay. Thank you so much for being here and being our honored guest. We have a lot of things to talk about today, especially some heated topics of conversation. Some big things that are happening in the media right now. I'm sure everybody's seeing it. Big conversations about the trans community and the drag community, mostly in the States, but it is now kind of trickling its way over here into into Canada, here in the upper part of North America. Jemm, let's open up the discussion. So first of all, let's talk about drag. So drag in itself, what does drag mean to you? What is it? Why is it that you do drag?
Oh, I just do drag so I can say stuff that I'm not supposed to say.
Well, don't we all?
That's a nice change.
Right?
Yes. Could you imagine if I was at work and I dressed like this and I talked the way I talk?
I can only imagine.
Exactly. It does allow us to get away with a lot of different things.
A lot.
But no, to you, what does drag mean personally to you?
Honestly, it's just about being able to express myself and, have conversations with people and just be more I love entertaining, and that's really the reason I do it. I love just being the comedian in or out. It's just I love making people laugh and having everyone smile.
Exactly, and I think that's for a majority of us, the reason why we want to do this is to entertain people. We're here to entertain the community and be there to show support for them. And right now, we don't seem to be getting a lot of that support reciprocated back to us. So let's talk about some situations that you have been in, or some things that you've experienced recently in your day-to-day in drag with the story reads and whatnot.
Yes, so I'm not going to say which library because I want to just make sure everyone is safe, but there was one particular story read. I checked my emails one morning and I had received 17 death threats, which was so much fun.
Wow.
All because I just wanted to read stories to children that taught love and acceptance and equality.
And that's exactly it. What is wrong with that? We go out, we on a day-to-day as, Randy, you're a parent, you understand when you raise your children, you raise your two children, what is, the morals, some of the morals that you want to instill in them is about loving yourself and about treating each other equally and treating each other with respect and knowing who you are as a person, right? Those are just core fundamental values, right? As a parent, you obviously, like some people, and I'm not saying all people because I know substance abuse is a little bit different for some people, but having a drink, okay? Let's put it into this perspective. You like to have an occasional drink every once in a while, right?
Not for the last 2 years, but
okay,
sure.
Just putting it into...
Anecdotally, yes.
Yes, so having an occasional drink once in a while is fine, but would you have those occasional drinks in front of a child?
Sure.
Extreme drinks in front of a child?
Well, no.
Exactly. So you know the difference between what's acceptable and what's unacceptable. So the same with us in drag.
Exactly.
We know the difference between what is an appropriate, thing to be reading for children in a library and what is, a bar show, for instance. So explain to me some of the things that you've been hearing from people, what the perception of us is.
The perception that I get is that we're just there to groom children and make them, cut off their genitals and just become some amorphous, non-gendered just being, and that's not what we're there to do, even remotely close to it.
Exactly.
Well, and I think it's important to point out too, and I've said this before, these are not shows that you are going out and soliciting children to come in to this show. You're not out on the street with a sign saying, free candy, come see a drag show.
I got candies and puppies.
This is a very well supervised story read. You're reading a story.
Yes.
It's just like Kermit the Frog reading a story to a child on Sesame Street. There's really no difference other than Kermit probably does their makeup a little bit better than some of you girls.
Yes, Kermit does.
Anyway.
I like the way you looked at me when you said that.
My point, though, it's not easy being green. My point, though, is that as a parent, I'm bringing my children, and you have my permission as a parent to read to these children. So another parent who doesn't want their child to be in that environment, that's great, that's your choice. But don't infringe upon my right and my choice to allow my children to be in a room with a drag queen who's reading a story to them.
Exactly. I've said it from day one. These story times, they're not mandatory. You do not have to come to these.
Exactly.
I think very recently I equated it with, my parents let me watch R-rated movies when I was 8 years old. Not every parent wants their 8-year-old kid watching R-rated movies. That's fine. Don't take them to R-rated movies.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I've been saying quite a bit, everybody keeps going on about, it's unsafe for children in these queer spaces and it's unsafe for these children at these shows. I'm sorry, as a drag performer, as a performer in a bar situation, I am there to entertain adults. I don't want to have to look around the room to see if it's okay if I can drop the F-bomb or not, because that shouldn't be an issue. If you don't feel that your children are safe in queer spaces, stop bringing your children to queer spaces. That's it. When it comes to story reads, libraries, park shows, that is a completely different story. We are there as clowns, basically. You hire a party clown, right?
Yeah.
You hire a Spider-Man or a Wolverine or whatever it is your kid is into to do their birthday party. You know what I mean? That's exactly what I equate us to. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree with you 100%. We're just there to entertain, and we understand our audience. I wouldn't wear, a bodysuit to do a kid's story read. I would wear something like this, maybe something a little bit bigger, something that just, doesn't really show my curves or my body so much.
Yeah.
Something that's more kid-friendly than fun.
Exactly. And that's exactly it. So let's go. So you and I, just this past weekend, we had the honor of doing a story read together. And this was actually a wonderful situation. So we ran into a little bit of a situation where we thought we were going to run into some protesters.
Yes.
We had been contacted by the library.
Yeah.
And we were also informed that the OPP was going to be there to keep us and our vehicles protected. That in itself is completely asinine and ridiculous to me. The fact that I, as a person, an entertainer, my colleague as well, we go out to entertain, to educate our community, to bring light, love, and joy to our community, and we are being met with hate and violence. But there is always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
And for every 2 or 3% of the negativity, there's always the 97% of the love and the joy. And we also got to experience that this weekend. So we have some photos that we had taken from our show. So let's bring those up here on our monitor.
And let's hope they got my good idea.
Yes,
Oh,
see?
they did.
So absolutely. So this is the organizer of all the counter protests that have been going on for all the library. This lovely individual here came out, and I'm sorry I forget their name, so please forgive me, came out and organized when they heard that there was going to be some hate towards us reading. Now, I don't see any type of stripper outfit or any type of jumpsuit or anything like that that's happening on here. Do you?
No, God,
Exactly.
no.
All I see is people loving and supporting. And then here we are inside the library doing what we do. This is us reading to our children. So how was your experience at this read?
I actually had a lot of fun at this read. Normally I just sit and I read the books, but we actually got to sing, we got to dance, we got to have a lot of questions. I believe one of the children, because you always refer to everyone as beautiful humans and beautiful people, asked if you were a fairy.
Yes,
and
they did.
Was like,
of course.
It was the most beautiful question in the entire world.
Yes, and I almost said yes, but then it would have been a different type of fairy, darling. This is a different type of conversation.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just a wonderful experience to be able to be out there in the community. Now, drag queen stuff aside, we are very fortunate that we are drag performers, that we get to experience this side of our life. We get to experience, you know, dressing up and playing make-believe. But for our fellow trans brothers and sisters who live their true authentic existence and their true authentic bodies every day, you know, the backlash, the hate, the threats, the killing, the violence that is happening towards our trans brothers and sisters, the complete eradication of their existence altogether is just completely unacceptable. Tell me how you think that we as drag performers can help bring some light to that situation to help support our trans brothers and sisters.
Well, because we are drag queens, we do stand out, so we do have a voice, we have a platform. Even this show alone has given you a platform, you too, as Randy, that you can use to speak out against almost any topic you want to, including helping out transgendered individuals. So the more we talk about it, the more it becomes normal, and the more normal it is, the better it is for everybody.
Exactly. We need to normalize these conversations. That's the issue here, is that people are too afraid to touch base on this topic because they don't know. If you don't know, ask questions. And again, for those of you out there, my fellow trans brothers and sisters, my fellow queer siblings out there, if people are out there talking to you and asking questions, please take the opportunity as an education experience for you. Take the time to help correct people and let them learn the proper way. Don't jump down their throats. Don't scream at them. Don't yell at them for misgendering you because it's not their fault. Even myself, as a queer person in our community, I constantly make mistakes. I constantly, you know, stick my foot in my mouth and then pick the other one up and put it back in there when I'm trying to correct myself. So we all do it. Just ask questions and don't be afraid, because if we don't bring up these topics of conversation, if we don't make these issues broad spectrum issues and right up front, then people are just going to push them to the wayside, and they're still going to be a voice that isn't heard.
Exactly. Education over eradication.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we talk about representation too, because, and especially I think when we're talking about, you know, drag queens being in front of young children.
Yes.
How many times have we heard stories of trans kids or queer kids in general who don't have any role models, don't have any examples of what they want to be or what their true selves are? And a good parent, in my mind, is a parent whose only job is to love their child and put them in a safe environment. And for a child who doesn't have those resources or the ability to see a reflection of themselves in reality, those are the children. If you really want to keep your child safe, put them in a space where they can have that.
Exactly.
Because it's kids that don't have that we lose.
Exactly.
You know, and I think, in all honesty, as much as I enjoy the entertainment aspect of drag, when it comes to drag story time, in many cases, in a lot of cases, this is actually saving lives too.
100%
And I think that's the narrative that gets missed in a lot of these conversations, that being out there as Jemm, being out there as Justine, you know, I know it sounds corny, but it literally does save lives.
It really does, and this is why we do what we do. This is why we are out there in the community, because if one person can see us, if one person can be out there and give us that little bit of respect to see what we do, and they can see that, okay, maybe they aren't so bad. If we could be that light and that voice for one person to help them, guide them on their path, you know, and drag saves lives. Drag literally saves lives. It literally helps open doors. How many people do we know that started their journey off in drag and then realized their true authentic identity, and it helped them get to that spot where they were living their true authentic self?
Oh, there's countless people that we've helped and who have come to us, who just talk to us because we create that safe space, that safe aura that just allows people to talk to us. I've talked to kids, I've talked to adults who are just like this is something I can't talk about anybody with. Like if my brother found out, if my sister found out, if my wife found out, that's a different topic.
Right.
just, not having that safety net at home.
Exactly. And, I just personally recently experienced this myself. I did a show a couple weekends ago at the farmhouse, and one of the guests there had come up to me and spoke to me about a certain situation about themselves. And it really touched my heart to be that beacon for them, because they came and they were like, you guys are superheroes. I look up to you. Like, I'm still in the closet. I'm still this, I'm still that. And, I wish I could do what you do. And I said, you can. You can do this. You are the person who is stopping yourself from doing this, but it's not them, it's the voices around them. And I think that is what we do as drag queens, is to help people know that that voice doesn't need to be there, that they can be themselves without having to feel the pressure of having society look down upon them. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and I had the great pleasure, and you both are aware of this, as you were part of the tour as well on the Stop Here Barry, when I toured the country with, I'm going to name drop, Trinity K. Bonet from season 6 of RuPaul's Drag Race and Drag Race All Stars. We had a parent bring their child. I say child, I think they were maybe 12 or 13 years old, to one of our shows. I believe it was the Hamilton show, and they actually brought their child so that child could be in a space where they could experience what they had expressed to their parent as wanting to explore the idea of drag and queerness, and not having a space to be able to do that in the town that they were living in. And Trinity, to her credit, pulled this individual aside, had an individual meet and greet with this person. I know they have been in touch with them since and ongoing. And this is a mother who told me off stage that if not for this, she was fearful that her child was going to take her life. And this literally saved that child's life.
Yeah, and that's
we toured 23 cities across the entire country in 24 days, and just that one story was enough to make it well worth the trouble.
That's it. At the end of the day, like we've said many times, if it could just be that one person, if we touch one person, one soul, if we help open a door for one person, then we've done our job, right? We've done what we have set out to do. But again, touching back on this topic of this trans ban, yes, drag queens are drag queens. We'll be knocked down. We'll pick our socks back up and stuff them back in our bras like we always do. But for trans people, they are literally trying to eradicate them. They're trying to cut their gender-affirming surgeries and their gender-affirming care therapies for their hormones, just basically knocking them out completely. And I think it's gonna come to a point where we as a community, and I've said this on numerous occasions to my friends, and I'm gonna say this here on camera, that drag is a protest, pride is a protest. Our existence is not to be reckoned with. Our existence is not to be played with. We are human beings. We have the right to exist. Remember, we are your doctors, your nurses, your caregivers, your hairstylists, and if you want us to not be around, we can do the great step away. We can stop what we do and we can walk away and we can see how well the world runs without us, because there is a lot of us.
Yes. Wow, so powerful. Like everything you say is just so amazing.
Well, thank you. I try. It's like I've said it a few times. You know what I'm talking about.
I think I've said this before too. That anytime anybody's able to stand up and say who they are, the world just becomes a brighter, happier place.
Yes, it does.
So when we are all able to say and stand up, even if you just stand up and just say, I'm straight and I love my wife.
Exactly.
That's who you are, and we love you for it.
We love you for it. Exactly.
Yes.
It's not this, this whole narrative, oh, where's my straight pride? You get that 364 days a year, my dear. This is one, weekend out of a month that we get to express ourselves as queer people wherever the pride may be going on in the world, right?
Or some of us express ourselves 365 days a week and make pride every day.
Exactly what it should be. I'm sorry, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that is the way it should be. Pride, whatever walk of life you come from, pride should be yours 365 days a year.
So in situations, Jem, where you wake up in the morning and get 17 death threats, What's your reaction to that?
My reaction to that is honestly, I know that nothing is ever going to happen to me. I shouldn't say never. I'm just wishing bad things upon me. But I know that I'm going to be safe. I know that there's enough people out there to support and love me that I'm not worried. I just report them. I actually have it set up now that there's a filter on my email that if certain words are put in it, it just gets filtered right into my trash. So I don't even see them anymore.
And I'm going to venture a guess here, and I don't think I'm going out on a limb to say that most of, if not all of these 17 death threats are from blank profiles or folks that you could never trace anyway.
Some, yes. Some I can actually see, like, sent from like a personal email, or if I've gotten one occasion, sent from a work email.
Wow.
So I sent that to their employer, and I don't know how that story ends.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yes. We, sorry to interrupt you, but we've also just recently, in our family, our drag family, had somebody dredge up an old photo of one of our sisters. And it was a bar show photo from when our sister was early out in her days. And, you know, we, as drag performers, we've all been there. We've all, you know, done the bar star, like, oh, I'm going to wear basically nothing and, you know, a pair of high heels, because, you know, that's what you do when you're young. But we all grow up. We all evolve because we are what? Grown-ups, and we have the ability to evolve and change. So the fact that this person dredged up this picture and said, hey everybody, this man is going to be reading to your children this weekend. What do you think about that? Like, these are the straws that people are pulling at here. So
and what I loved, if you've read the comments and sent that post as well, right underneath it, there's people going, no, this is the person, and then shows more recent pictures of them. And,
exactly.
You know, more traditional story time.
Evolution.
Exactly.
I mean, I think we all have pictures out there that folks could dredge up and post that might not be
I think there's a few
too
pictures
flattering.
of you and I out there.
Yes, and we'll actually maybe show those on another episode. But
do it now.
But my point is, and to your point, you know, as human beings, you're right. We evolve, we change, we learn, and there shouldn't be any shame in a drag queen who, in her early career, was wearing next to nothing. Because there are some drag queens at the height of their career that still do that, and I applaud them for it.
Yeah.
In the right venue, you know?
Yes.
That queen you're speaking of, your sister, could very well wear that same lack of outfit today at a bar or at a particular show.
But it's
not going to be there for a drag story time
Well,
to
she
your
couldn't wear
children.
that particular outfit. She's put on weight.
I was guessing that too, but because I think I know who you're talking about. But anyway, we love you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. We do.
Yes.
Congratulations, by the way. But exactly, we are humans. We evolve. We grow. But this is the other thing, too, that I love. This whole narrative of us being strippers. Let me get something very, very, very straight here for you. One thing straight, two things gay.
I hate you.
Was that your line?
No, it's actually somebody from TikTok, but it's really funny. Anyway, this, you want to see this come off, it's going to take me about 25 to 30 minutes to take all of this off, because you don't seem to realize that this is an illusion. Ooh, pay no attention to the man behind the female curtain. You know, like, I have couch cushion and tights and shorts and bathing suits and this, like, all holding this up. And if you think that that's all coming off for me to strip in front of your children, you better be second guessing
I could
yourself.
strip a lot faster.
Yes,
than either one of you
absolutely.
right now.
What was it? I had to laugh the other day. A friend of mine sent me this thing. It was from Wanda Sykes. It's like, unless a drag queen is coming into a classroom and beating your child to death with a copy of To Kill a Mockingbird, you got something else to worry about.
I saw that meme as well.
It made me howl.
Yeah. So aside from, you know, entertaining children and showing them examples of what queerness is in our world today, what other values do you think, and what else do you bring to a drag story time that children and their parents can take away in a positive light?
Well, I don't necessarily go in with like the lesson of queerness. I go in with the lesson of acceptance and equality, and that's really what I'm there to teach. It's like it, you know, I am not trying to push an agenda. I'm just there to say, come out, be who you want to be, say how you want to say it. If you're not hurting anybody, then there is no harm.
Exactly. Don't hurt yourself, don't hurt others, and always be true to who you are. That's the message that we always try to put forth. We are there to talk to the young people, to let them know that it is okay to be who you are. One of my favorite books is Blue Crayon, Blue Crayon.
No, Red.
Red Crayon, sorry, I always mix it up. It's the red crayon with the blue wrapper, right?
Yes.
And so it's a red crayon who's living his life in a blue wrapper, and everyone keeps telling them that, oh, you're blue, and one day you'll be blue, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry, but everything he colors is red, and he doesn't understand why. And so it's these kind of stories that we teach to children, or read to children, to teach them that it is okay to live your own true self. We teach about love, we teach about family, we teach about acceptance, equality, diversity, and just being silly, make believe.
Yeah, just make believe in silliness.
Right? That's all, really, at the end of the day, that's all we do. It's just a bunch of make believe and silliness, right?
Yes.
And I'm assuming these books are actually available for children to check out in the library as well, right?
Yes.
100%. All of the books that we read to children are available at all of the public libraries throughout Simcoe County.
Yeah, the first thing I do whenever I see like a comment going, I can't believe they're letting these people read to books, I said, here are the books that I've read to your children. Please take a minute, check them out yourself, see what I'm reading, read them to your own children.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Because there's good lessons in there. Even if you don't like the package that is giving the message is still an amazing message.
And that's really, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's not where the message is coming from, it's how it's delivered. So it doesn't matter if it's a man in a dress, a teacher, a police officer, a firefighter, somebody, anybody, as long as the message is positive and it's being portrayed for little ears to hear, to absorb, and to help them grow as well-rounded individuals, I think really that's our job at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Randy, again, thank you. What do we got going on? We got little Miss Jemm over here.
We do.
I want to say thank you so much for coming.
I love that you called her little.
I love that too.
Little Miss Jemm.
Say it again, I don't hear it enough.
Yes.
Tiny little
we got
me.
little Miss Jemm here. So again, thank you so much. Anything that you wanted to say before we wrap things up?
Yes, I am available for weddings, for funerals, for bar mitzvahs. Just get on my Instagram at Jemm Doshay. Follow me, call me. I am available and I am desperate for anything, please.
You heard it here first, folks.
She does mean anything.
She's desperate.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, yes. And if you want to find Miss Jemm Doshay, you can also find her on Instagram, on Facebook, under the House of Devereaux, as well of myself. We are sisters. We love to perform together all the time, and I'm looking forward to many, many more journeys with you on our drag story time this year.
Oh, the best is yet to come, darling.
Yes, and Randy, anything you would like to add to our lovely guest here?
I mean, I would have loved to have seen a song and dance number, just spontaneous, but we'll get that next show, and we'll set up the shot so that we get all of you in, because if you stand up, we're going to lose half of you anyway.
Yeah, it's a lot to get into one frame.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But I echo what Justine said. Thank you for being on the show again. We will absolutely have you and the rest of your sisters back.
Absolutely.
We need to do a whole Devereaux show.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's it. That's it for today, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for Mr. Randy Davis for being here and having me as your wonderful co-host. And a big thank you to Miss Jemm Doshay, my wonderful sister here from the House of Devereaux. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night, everybody. I don't
And
want
this is where I sing the theme song?
Yeah.
Let's be perfectly queer. We're here.
We do need a new theme
Yes,
song.
you do. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh.